What's up, everybody? I see we got a few people in here, as you can see in my setup. I'm going to be with my brother today, Andy. I'm super excited about today's show. And shoot, I might have him turn off our overhead lights here in just a second. Actually, I'll do that. There we go. How is everybody? Are we live on Instagram? I believe we are. I see. Hello. Welcome in, everybody. If you're with me live, let me know. Roel, I see you. Thank you for being with us as always. We're going to have a great show tonight. We'll let a few more people come in. Let's see. Dental Dame, what's up? Great to see you over there on Instagram. Thank you for hanging out. My man, Tom, what's going on, man? Thank you so much for that email. That is amazing. You're the best, man. Stan, what's up? Excited for tonight's show. Edna, hello. So good to see you. Oliver, it's funny. My brother's a PA, and my dad, of course, is a doctor. My sister's an esthetician. With us, I'm really nothing. I just answered. I asked the questions. So no, but a lot of us are, just not me. Wilma, what's up? Bianca, what's up? Carter, happy Tuesday to you. It's so good to see you. Thank you for all that you do. You've been super amazing. Gosh, the last couple of weeks have been wild for a lot of our PM team. I want to give Carter just a huge shout out. Katie, a huge shout out. April, our whole Knoxville team has done amazing. Really, I see Esty Bestie's in here. Esty's done amazing. Jasmine Allman, our esthetician over in West Knoxville. Just amazing stuff. Happy Tuesday to you. Katie, what's up? Great to see you. D. Lynn, Ivy, and JC with Ivy, what's up? It was great to hang out with you on Friday. Was that Friday? It was Saturday. It was Saturday. Such a fun time. That was amazing over there at the Sports Mill. Thank you to Jody for that. It was so fun. Golly, it's just been a wonderful. I was telling Dad this is like December's like one of my favorite times of the year at Performance Medicine. It's just a whole bunch of fun. And we're gonna have more fun tonight. I get my brother here with me. Carter, you're the best. You're the best. D-Lynn, I see you. We got a great crew in here tonight. Real quick, as you guys know, we send out, if you're not on our email list, please get on the email list. We send out an email every Tuesday at 3 p.m. And this week was about processed foods, the health risks of processed foods. You can hear Dr. Rogers talk about kind of really what you want to stay away from. It goes over the mildly processed and the ultra processed foods. And we're going to have some cool things along those lines coming up in the next couple of weeks. But it opened my eyes. And I will say, let's see, Ian, what's going on, man? We got somebody from Auckland in here. I love Auckland. One of my college roommates was from Auckland, New Zealand. So Ian, thank you for being here, man. Terry, what's up? Golly, we got so many friends in here. Thank you guys for being with us tonight. Thank you guys for always helping this show out. This show would be nothing without y'all's amazing questions. So thank you. Real quick, this is for Katie and Carter. The Dr. Rogers vitamins are on our website, performancemedicine.net/shop. You can use the QR code right there. So many of you have already started using them. We appreciate that so much. We've put a lot of effort into these combination vitamins. We've talked with Katie about it. The no filler aspect. It's just it's the vitamins. I mean, we love them. Obviously, we're biased, but we appreciate everybody who is supporting the show by purchasing vitamins. That means the world to us. All right, where are we at? Anybody? I see Roel loves December. I love that, man. Thank you, Carter. I'm going to put this up real quick because it's getting ready to be Christmas season. This is one of my favorite episodes we've ever done, What You Hope For with Jamie Winship. Definitely check that out. Just send it to a friend. It's one of the more encouraging conversations I've ever been a part of, and I want you guys to be a part of it too. If you have not watched it, this is one that we tend to watch on a yearly basis. So thank you in advance for watching that. Thank you, Jamie. My man, what's going on, man?
Ben, we're here. What's going on? We got some good peeps in the house, y'all.
Guys, as you can see, this is to my left, to your right. That's my brother, Andy Rogers. He's our clinical director here at Performance Medicine.
There's fun people
we've got
on tonight.
The best people.
Katie and Carter, God love you. Oh my God, God love you both. May the Lord bless you and keep you. Bless you and your family. Thank
look
God.
Look at
Roel,
this. Roel, what's up, Andy?
What up? Come on. I know. Listen. We got that bond. Y'all, I'm pumped. I haven't been on in a while.
Dude, I'm so glad to have you on again.
I'm so glad to have you on too.
We get to do this in person. This is fun. You've been at the North Knoxville office all day.
Was everybody here for Ben's full day of Cyber Monday? Were you Cyber Monday full day?
It was Cyber Monday. We went for 8 hours. I know Tom's in here. Tom was definitely in there.
Ben was. Hey, Tom, I've read your thing. on.
It was awesome, wasn't it?
Yeah. The article was awesome. Thank you for sending that to me. That was great. One day I'll have a chest like yours. Oh, do I need to be in the microphone?
Well, for those who don't know, Tom was there with us. All right, we're recording for the podcast as well. So now we are officially official. Guys, as you know, if you guys got a question for Andy, go ahead and put it in the comments. I see Jasmine was at Cinderella. That's amazing.
She was y'all, that meant a lot that y'all came to that. Thank you. So I have reunited with the theater that I used to do things at prior to PA school. And when I lived in Knoxville and went to UT, I did shows at the Oak Ridge Playhouse. We're Oak Ridgers. I'm a native Oak Ridger. I was born in Oak Ridge. The Oak Ridge Playhouse it's unbelievable. It's really good. I've been very, very lucky to be involved with very good community theaters. Jonesboro, shout out to JRT. And then too, now that I've been back down in the Knoxville area, I've gotten involved with Oak Ridge, and it's just, it's so good. I'm sorry, they're good. They're good. And it's like coming back home to a lot of my friends that feel like family are there, and they're just, I'm very lucky. Yes. So come see the show. That's why I look a little bit like Colonel Sanders right now. This is not facial hair by choice, but
you rock it.
Show.
You rock it, man.
Thank you.
Okay, so guys, we appreciate y'all being here. We're going to get to as many questions as possible. We normally get to every single one. So if you have a question for Andy, go ahead and put it in the comments. We had a few that came in throughout the week. We appreciate you guys. That really gets the show off in such a good direction. I'm going to start off here. This is around creatine, I believe. All right, my husband takes blood pressure medication and is on diuretics. So I know it's not a safe supplement for him to use. He is currently taking a collagen powder. My question is, what similar supplement can my husband take for the same benefits? I read a lot about creatine and do not want to suggest he start something that could harm him. It's a great question.
This is a great question. I apologize that I keep coughing. I downed that smoothie.
You did, man. Smoothie.
It's so cold. It's so cold. So that's why I'm coughing. I'm not sick, but I just downed a smoothie and it was so cold. So if I keep coughing, I apologize. This is a really great question because creatine often gets a bad rep because of creatinine. Creatinine is a marker of kidney damage that can be found on a complete metabolic panel. They do an automatic comparison of creatinine and glomerular filtration rate, which is another sign of kidney disease. The lower you're filtering with your kidneys, the higher stage of kidney disease you have. However, creatine, it's made up of 3 different amino acids together. It's I know one's glycine and one is arginine and the other one is maybe, I forget the other one, but methionine. I think methionine.
That sounds right.
So they're made up of amino acids that basically creatine, you make creatine. Your body already has creatine in it, and I think it's phosphocreatine. and it's stored. It's made by different organs that basically goes to the muscle, and the muscle uses that for energy. So when people take it exogenously, not endogenously, but exogenously from another source in a synthetic pre-made source, it's like your own creatine on steroids. It just jacks up what your muscles can intake, whatever they are innervated with and stimulated with exercise. So people will take creatine to increase muscle mass. And there's a bunch of other functions. Creatine also lives in the brain too. So there's benefit to it. And the idea behind this question is it safe to take with kidney function? And two, on paper, people don't really take it. They'll decrease their creatine intake, or they'll forego doing it, or take it 2 or 3 times a week and not every day. That's not set in stone. I'm just throwing that out there. That's not set in stone, that's contraindicated unless he has progressed chronic renal failure or chronic kidney disease that's in different stages. So depending on him taking blood pressure medications, on diuretics, if this is for chronic kidney failure or kidney disease and they're on dialysis, then yeah, it can be a little bit too harmful to the kidneys because it can raise creatinine too much and cause damage to the cells there. So he might not be a total, like he might be a candidate for creatine. Another way to measure some of this kidney function would be for a red blood cell magnesium. Magnesium really helps out with GFR, or that filtration rate. And so checking a red blood cell magnesium might be a better indication of where his kidney status is if you were to start creatine. Alternatives would be to protein, although protein on paper in standard traditional medicine is you're going to be on a protein restriction if you're on if you have kidney disease. So they'll restrict it to a certain milligram per kilogram per day. But he's wanting to improve muscles. He's wanting to prevent sarcopenia, getting some sort of protein in. I wouldn't necessarily say no to creatine for him if it were me. But if he's looking at benefits that aren't creatine, I'd go for the branched chain amino acids and do one of the amino acids that make up creatine, like L-arginine. Foods that are high in creatine too are like red meat. Red meat's really high in it. So you can take it from a natural source. You just get a much higher benefit from it with it being synthetically made and exogenously taken. I would look at red meat. I think some nuts have it too, and look up the 3 amino acids that make it. And I think L-arginine would be the one that would make most sense. And helps out with vasodilation too.
Can you say that test one more time? Is it just a red blood cell magnesium, RBC magnesium?
If he's concerned about, and I would look at kind of the etiology of why hypertension is there. A lot of hypertension is essential, just means that it's there because it's genetically there, and some vessels in that RAS system that deals with the heart, lungs, and kidney, which make up your blood pressure. He might just have it just because he has it. But it might not be super damaging to his kidneys right now. If he's protecting it with a blood pressure medication that might be like losartan or lisinopril that tends to help the kidneys, then creatine might not be a bad choice for him. I think it's all risk benefit in this case without it being chronic kidney disease. And then look at alternative sources. Natural sources would be like nuts and red meats, or even chicken, just any meats really. And then looking at the branched chain amino acids. And getting some sort of protein. He can even look at peptides if he wants to skip that class altogether and stimulate muscle through insulin growth like factor 1 and look at samorelin and ipamorelin, because that won't deal with kidney function at all.
That's interesting. If you guys got peptide questions, put them in the comments, because they've been kind of top of mind for us recently. We've been talking a lot about them.
Are you not concerned about where you're going to get more sweaters when the circus runs out of town?
It's a little Santa Claus. We might throw in some. I
want everyone to. I know that we're doing serious questions, and I apologize, but if you want to throw into the comments what you think Ben's #1 Christmas album he listens to every year.
Oh, that's a great one.
Throw it in there. Throw your best guess. And I honestly want to do some sort of giveaway if someone gets it, because no one's going to get it. If someone gets it, I'll be shocked.
We'll come up with something super cool. I love this question here. One, because I want this to be a place where you can kind of ask about things you're seeing on, social media or, on TV commercials. I see ads for True Height all the time. I have an athlete, 11-year-old, so they're always catch my attention, but marketing. What are your thoughts on these types of products, and or what would your team consider as the best option to support full potential in these crucial adolescent years? So I'm imagining that this is about some sort of like
True height.
kind of like a growth scenario.
I'm looking this up right now because I don't know true height. So true height looks like essentials. Okay, essential vitamins, minerals, proteins for healthy growth during formative years.
It's interesting.
So they're looking at 5 factors of development: nutrition, hormones, sleep, calmness, and immune system. I mean, this looks good. They're right. This looks like and correct me if I'm wrong, this is an all natural approach to kind of increase the nutritional status while kids are in their growth phase, is what I'm thinking. This looks like they use zinc, melatonin, L-theanine, ashwagandha, nutrition like micro and macronutrients, along with protein like calcium, vitamin D, immune system, vitamin C. So you're using all naturals during this critical period. I don't think that's a bad idea.
Yeah.
I really don't. I have a lot
of they got protein shakes.
I have a lot of thoughts on this though.
Yeah, go ahead.
I have a lot of thoughts. Yes. Okay. For kids, what are your thoughts on types of products and what would your team consider as the best option to support full potential in these crucial adolescent years? This is an interesting subject because I did rotate in pediatric endocrinology and I thought pediatric endo was going to be all type 1 diabetes. And most of it was growth hormone. Most parents came in and wanted their kids to be NBA players. And I was in a big city. So like, they're like, I don't care what that test says. I want my kid to be 2 feet taller. And two, I mean, it didn't work out for me because I'm 6'3". So that doctor was like, you won't be Andy's height. So I did not fit in for that. But they always wanted more out of that growth period. And there's different ways to do it. The best thing you could do for your kids is sleep. Kids need sleep. You release insulin growth factor 1 in your growth hormone during sleep. So that's why kids sleep all the time. That's why. And so they replenish all those hormones at night. So I think the sleep is really, really important. So encouraging good sleep habits. I would be more interested in if I'm thinking of what I would do when we're ready for the kid, when the Rogers family is ready for kids. I'd be very, big on screen time and what they're doing online versus do I need to give them the right amount of zinc? Just that is my personal opinion, that I think more detrimental to their well-being as adults and adolescents is going to be what they think about themselves, how they're getting their identity online and social media, and how they're connecting to human beings and not texting them, teaching them how to talk in person, to be in community. And then 2, all these 2 should be coming from the foods that we eat. So I say that with an asterisk, saying that the foods that we eat in America are not nutritious. It's just not. So I would say adding these in because your kids might be a picky eater is a good thing. Like it's like, hey, if they just can't do it and I can't do anything but Chick-fil-A because I either don't have time or my child won't eat anything but Chick-fil-A and they're going to go on a hunger strike if they don't get it, then this is a good supplementation for it. My encouragement would be that they've got to start healthy habits with good nutrition now. Like start it now. When I think about us in the 90s, I know I keep harping on this with mom, but
I know.
Karo syrup.
I know.
We had high fructose corn syrup on the dinner table.
She didn't know.
She didn't know. She didn't know.
She didn't know.
Gummies. I mean, gummies and fruit by the foot and Sour Patch Kids, Cowtails. I can't tell you the name. Those are good days.
They're so good.
Surge. That's like has like a surgeon. There's a general surgeon's warning on it now. So much of it, I think, too, is teaching them healthy habits with nutrition first, not just relying on supplementation to say, hey, you're doing well because I'm supplementing with it. Like teach them to actually eat good foods. I think that's going to be better for their health than just junk plus this. But I think this is good stuff. I mean, it looks like it's amazing stuff. There is some interesting ideals behind melatonin in kids, that too much melatonin can downregulate the melatonin receptors, and that you become reliant on it over time. I don't know if that's necessarily true. There's conflicting studies about both of those, whether or not melatonin is a good thing, because 2, kids need sleep. So if it's like the risk benefit of being on melatonin forever because the kid's getting good sleep, then who cares, right?
Right.
But and melatonin too can have some really other great properties to it too. So I would pick and choose. If it were me with my kids, I'd pick and choose which one's important. I do think protein for kids is really, really good, especially during that growth phase. And two, if you're worried about growth stature, increasing height potential, if it's like true height, this means to me that like kids are wanting to be taller. There are different ways to look at that from an endocrine standpoint. You can get some testing with, do they have growth hormone deficiency? Do they have just idiopathic short stature? There's some ways too that you can actually extend some of the growth by blocking some estrogen. That was a tool that if kids are not reaching their potential, you can actually put them on estrogen blockers, because when testosterone comes in during pregnancy, now this is with guys, and I don't think that's with girls, but with guys, you can block the estrogen, because when testosterone comes in with puberty, it can convert to estrogen and then close the growth plates. Estrogen loves bones and can close growth plates. You can put them on blockers, which will keep the growth plate open longer and give them a little bit more potential. So that's like a medical way to do it. And sometimes too, that's very helpful, because I think I'd say height's important.
Yeah.
It is. It's important to men and women, but especially to young boys, it's important. So that's a very tricky subject that endocrinologists get into, to where do you give them growth hormone? Do you not? There is some land out there where they're using the peptides like samorelin and ipamorelin to increase growth potential too. This is a long-winded answer. I just really like this question.
It's a great question.
I think these are completely fine. Absolutely. I would say too, I would try to encourage this, plus I know how to eat well and I know how to stay in community. I'm getting tools of how to be a human being, of how to have some sort of skill, how to make friends, how to do something that's for others. And then I'd say number one is making sure they have really good sleep.
Yeah.
So good sleep and good self-esteem of knowing who they are outside of what they do.
I love that. That's a great answer.
Yeah.
Great question. I'm so
great question.
This is a fun topic to talk about.
This is really fun for us too. I appreciate you bringing this up, because this can actually give me some doses, because people ask that all the time about how much vitamin D should kids get? And we're not in pediatrics. So this is a great tool for us that we may get some good dosings on what this looks like. That's great.
All right. Thank you so much for that question. Thank you, Andy, for that great answer there. The athlete world and kids is a really interesting, competitive world. So thank you for putting that question. Okay, so this is a fun one around infrared saunas. Let me see if I can find it. Please explain how infrared saunas and red light therapy are not damaging like the sun, when they seem to be recreating that heat that we get from the actual sun that goes deep into the cells. Are there UV rays at all in the infrared saunas or red light therapy? How do they stimulate collagen rather than break it down? That's a great question.
This is really great.
Yeah.
So let's go back to that first one.
All right.
Infrared versus UVB and UVA. So that's ultraviolet versus red light therapy. So different lights have different wavelengths. And to my understanding, and I'm not a physicist, so if you're a physicist, you can explain this better than I can. But to my understanding, the red waves, like the infrared waves, are much longer. And then the ultraviolet rays are much shorter. And they can either penetrate deeper or more superficially. So infrared's going to go deeper, and it's going to be a lower heat. It's a lower energy than UVA, UVB. So the red goes deeper. It's not crazy amounts of energy. So it's that low, subtle heat that goes in and heats from within your system. So when you're looking at infrared saunas, or just saunas in general, infrared saunas, or like Vita Hot Yoga uses infrared heat to heat the building, to heat the room that you're doing it in. It's not blowing hot air on you. Some saunas or some hot yogas will just make the room hot with external heat instead of heating with infrared, which makes you heat from within, if that makes sense.
It makes total sense.
And it's better to heat from within. You can still get some benefits because you sweat to get rid of toxins.
It kind of makes sense with like a fever is actually a good thing, because it's your body fighting.
Well, sometimes, yeah.
Yeah.
That's a theory. Yeah, it's your body's trying to get rid of it. Yes.
Okay.
It heats up from within. You just don't want to run fevers forever.
No.
Yes. But
ignore what I just said, guys.
No. That concept right. That concept is right. So with infrared, it's going deeper into the idea behind its health benefits is that it can stimulate mitochondria. So if it's stimulating mitochondria, working on cell damage and improving the health of the cell, it can help overall your immune system. It can also stimulate collagen. There's a question about collagen. So infrared saunas, we're thinking about something about heat from within to help out with your immune system. We're working on the mitochondria of the cell. And that's coming from red light, which is a little bit of a longer wavelength that goes in a little bit deeper and has a lower heat and excitability with it. UV or ultraviolet, A and B. A is a little bit longer. It's either longer or shorter than B. You'd rather almost have UVB than UVA, to my understanding, but both of them can cause the skin cancer stuff. It can increase melanocytes, which can darken the skin. And then two, it can break down collagen, which can wrinkle the skin. When infrared can sometimes increase the collagen. Heat is a good thing for the body because it can stimulate your body to do something. So if we're creating heat through a fever, you're trying to kill an infection. If you're doing it through like old therapy, like what our sister does, it can help stimulate collagen growth by causing damage and creating more fibroblasts within the dermis. And that's where collagen lives, is within the dermis. It's not in the epidermis. It's not in the top layer. It's in the next layer down in the dermis. And there's like a deep dermis and all these things, a SMAS layer where the collagen matrix is. So if you put heat there, that's not super excitable, it can tell your body to make more. If you have a super excitable heat that's not super controllable, like UVA, UVB, then it can just make cells turn over too quickly and you can get a lot of damaged cells that then replicate. And that's where the melanomas come. And that's where the aging and wrinkling come. There's some theory too about this whole thing about infrared saunas about like, does it improve mood? And tanning is actually good for you. And darker skin is better because it protects you from sunlight. The sun has all the heats. There's a little bit of infrared heat from the sun and some ultraviolet heat from the sun. And sun is good. Sun is great because you're going out and you're connecting with nature. And there's a magnetism within the earth that if you get your feet off and ground, all that stuff is good to be in nature. The hard part is that we've created environments that we weren't really meant to live in. We live primarily indoors now as human beings. We're not really outdoors unless you have an outdoor job. Two, we go to environments and climates because travel is so easy now to where we're not, if we lived 1,000 years ago, we wouldn't be going to Mexico. We wouldn't be going to the equator where we're closer to the sun. So there's different theories about where people groups and ethnicities with skin tones, which is a Fitzpatrick scale, 1 to 6, of how much melanin you have in the skin. Is a lot of it was to protect you from how close to the sun you were. So you feel like further away from the equator, the lighter the skin tones, the closer to the equator, the darker the skin tones, because we're closer and further away from the sun. So vitamin D2 is activated by, I believe, UVB. I do think that's a UVB vitamin D activation. So there's this whole theory too about like, okay, well, we should go in and get UVB, and UVB is better. I would say UVB is probably better than UVA, and that not every tanning bed has one of those, but you can kind of emit some of those lights to help increase. That's why people have those like sun lamps or whatever in their rooms to kind of mimic sunlight to make them happier and improve mood. The idea is that it's stimulating vitamin D. I would get out in the sun. I would go outside. I think sunscreen is good, although there's hit or miss controversy about sunscreen and whether or not it is good. I think a mineral-based sunscreen is better if you're going to use actual sunlight. Two, they'll use some phototherapy in dermatological offices to help out with skin infections like psoriasis, because it helps kill some of the bacteria and yeast that is associated with psoriasis and seborrheic dermatitis. So I would say in short, that's a long-winded answer. I apologize. Infrared saunas and red light are not damaging like the sun. Different wavelengths goes to a different part of the body. Okay. Are UV rays at all in the infrared saunas No, no. Infrared is just infrared or the red light therapy. No, it's not UV.
Mm.
How do they stimulate collagen rather than break it down? Because it's going in at a lower excitability than UVB, UVA. And then there's another one.
This one, and Katie might be able to help us with this one. Is what brand is the sauna?
Oh, what brand is Dad's sauna? I don't know. I don't know.
My guessing,
Sun something?
yeah, I
I
think
can Google it.
I think it's Sunlighten.
Katie?
And Katie, you can correct me if I'm wrong. I think it's Sunlighten. And I see here, Anna, what's going on? It's so good to see you. See, Brandon's in here. Brandon, what's going on?
Oh, Brandon.
So good to see you.
Oh, Brandon, how's it going?
I see Katie's. She's got a red light panel. That's exciting.
Yes,
I love
and
it.
people love it. I'm telling you, people will use red light for a lot of things. But for collagen improvement, for pain, mom uses an Avicin for her hands. It helps. A lot of the red light therapy is going to improve vascularization and mitochondrial health. So people have less pain with it. People have increased collagen on a deeper dermis matrix, and people feel better with it. I think it's good, and it can help you sweat, and it sweats from within, not from without, which is good.
Are you a sauna versus steam room type, or is it
Both?
Yeah, all the above.
Steam room is fun because steam rooms can open up the sinuses. There's even something I did in an A4M that was a golly, it was a salt one. You gotten this salt thing that apparently gets rid of all sinus infections. There's just a ton of salt.
That's
It's like a salt room, which is technically a thing too.
Yeah.
Like I did that salt float.
Yeah.
Wellness longevity.
Yeah.
God, that was
Biostacks.
crazy. Biostacks.
Yeah.
Y'all, if y'all are in the Tri-Cities area, go to Biostacks.
They're the best.
If you want to live a long time and feel good, Biostacks. God, that place was awesome.
It's like
you did the hot cold room.
It's like Six Flags for people interested in their health.
Yes.
Literally.
It's really good stuff. Some of that stuff's very hard to keep up with, but I think a lot of it, even once or twice, is really fun.
All right, let's keep moving here. Thank you guys. I see Jasmine, our esthetician West Knoxville, saying I partner red light with my treatments in the West office. So that's exactly
you do,
right.
Jasmine.
I
Yeah,
love
you
that.
do.
I love that.
I love it.
Okay, and let's see here. I see Katie saying there's a sauna box that are also really, really great. And then a sauna box is a steam sauna.
Oh,
Cool.
okay.
I
So
love
that's the one. Is it a sauna box?
This is the one.
Sunlighten.
Sunlighten
Sunlighten
with
with
Dads.
Dads. Okay. And they use it quite frequently. You can use it every day.
Yeah.
I feel like 30 to 45 minutes if you can every day.
All right.
This is great.
Guys, thank you all
Ivy's
so
in the
much.
house.
Ivy's in the house.
I'll
of
see y'all
course she is.
tomorrow. I'm coming to Johnson City tomorrow, okay? To grandmother's house we go. Well, and grandmother's house is going to be on Saturday. But
That's right.
Yes,
That's right.
yes. But I will be in Johnson City tomorrow.
All right, guys, we have gotten through the questions that came in throughout the week. Thank you guys so much for sending me those emails throughout the
You're
week.
right. We should address more festive. Tom, I'm just saying your thing. Why were we not in our Christmas This is my only December one. Okay. I didn't make the cut for the rest of the month.
And I'm gonna go ahead and bring this back up. If you guys can guess my favorite Christmas album,
Favorite Christmas album.
artist.
You'll get something. I don't know what it is, but you're gonna get someone.
And
I'm gonna tell you right now, no one.
We already got.
Ooh, there's a close one. I'd say that's probably number 2. Go all the way down.
Oh, let me say Katie said it.
Woo!
Katie said it. All right, there you go,
What?
guys.
Merry Christmas.
Yeah, we're getting there. I have not seen it yet, but you're getting
Put
warm.
that one up. Go to the very bottom.
Oh no.
Elvis, no, this is not Elvis. You are so close.
You're getting
Bianca.
there.
Oh man, that's my mom's favorite Christmas album. Is that one? Oh my gosh.
Hot darn.
Oh,
Hot darn.
Yeah, right. Doug, how did you know that?
Doug, high five. Virtual
How
high
did
five.
you know that? There's no way someone took.
I didn't say anything.
Did you say something on there?
No.
No one listens to Shadazy Christmas except Ben and Stephanie does too. Stephanie and
I'm just gonna go ahead and put this up there.
That is wild.
Doug-
I can't believe you guessed Shadazy.
Doug, pick out a vitamin on our vitamin store and email me or Katie your address. That is, I mean, you deserve it. That is incredible.
Doug, I cannot believe it. I cannot.
I'm just gonna.
You were playing them on Black Friday. Ben, come on.
Hey, that's just that. Kudos to Doug for being
You
here.
deserve a bite.
You
You
deserve
deserve
it.
them. Doug, you deserve them.
Doug, thank you.
That is so fun.
That's
That
awesome.
is so good.
That
you
is
got a little,
awesome.
You got a little Shadays? You got a Shadays on
Well, I got in trouble for copyright I had it on the 8-hour Cyber Monday, and we got banned in a couple different countries because of that. So we can't technically play it because we don't have permission.
For Shadazy Christmas?
Yeah, they call it. Yeah,
Shadazy's mad?
I don't think Shadazy's mad, but somebody's mad.
Show what?
All right, guys, we're taking questions right now.
Wow.
Doug, you're getting a free vitamin.
That is awesome.
All right, let's keep going. If you guys are new to the stream, hello. My brother and I are going to be answering questions for the next 30 minutes or so. If you have a health and wellness question, put in the comments. And if you're new here, let us know where you're from.
Yes, let us know. Let us know. We got 47 people in the Jesus.
All right, this is a personal question for Andy.
Oh, Tom, okay, my shoulder is much better. Yeah. Yes, I love all that stuff you sent me. I'm still working on it. I'm doing that show in Oak Ridge. I'm in a production of Cinderella at the Oak Ridge Playhouse. I haven't had a ton of time outside of the office, but I am working on it. And that PRP from Joe really did help.
Yep.
Oh man, that really helped. I'm not nearly getting the pain that I had. And I think that PRP is a miracle. I love it. We call it the golden juice.
Edna's also has some good results.
Edna's has great results with PRP.
All right, let's get to Lisa. Lisa always shares the broadcast. Thank you, Lisa. I need to get my A1C down the quickest way possible. What is the best thing to take or the best thing to do for this result? Lisa, thank you.
This is great.
This is the best guy to ask for it.
Yeah. Okay. So for those unfamiliar, A1C is how much sugar is sticking to the red blood cell, which is an indicator for no diabetes, pre-diabetes, or diabetes. So we want sugar coming out of the arteries, off of the red blood cell, and getting sugar up into the skeletal muscle uptake to make muscles bigger. So that's the whole idea behind why A1C gets to be so important. The quickest way probably is going on some sort of intervention and going on a medical therapy. The way it should always be accompanied is with proper nutrition. I just think nutrition is so important. We have to eat real foods, and I think real foods that are lower on the glycemic index will spike that insulin a lot less, which makes sugars go down much more quickly as well. Just with exercise that is also muscle related, that's resistance based, basically. Lifting weights can decrease your A1C by 0.5 to 1.5%. Nutrition can do it by the same amount too. So you can get a 2% A1C reduction with just exercise and nutrition. It takes a little bit longer, but that's stuff that's going to last. Quickest medical intervention is going to be the incretin class. Those work crazy good. They work to sensitize insulin and by innervating receptors in the gut called GLP-1 and GIP. And those kind of direct traffic as food goes down to the gastrointestinal tract and work on hunger hormones. But it makes you spit out less insulin. It makes you utilize insulin much better, which will bring down A1C very quickly. So I would say looking at getting on the incretin hormones, which is going to be Ozempic, Mounjaro if it's diabetes. For weight loss, which technically isn't an A1C issue, still though it has an indication, is going to be Wegovy and Zepbound, or the compound semaglutide, compound tirzepatide, if there's no coverage for either one of those.
Yeah.
That's a good question.
Lisa, thank you so much for kicking us off there. Great question. Let's get to Roel here. Andy, during our sleep, is it normal that our glucose goes down? I've been using a CGM. It seems to go down for about an hour. That's so interesting.
Yes, absolutely, Ro. Absolutely, that is normal for it to go down. It depends on, I'm so glad you're using that CGM system. So a CGM, for those who don't know, is a continuous glucose monitoring system. It uses an electrode that gets them placed into the existential fluid, just meaning fluid surrounding the bloodstream. So as sugar comes off and those red blood cells hit the electrode, it can test for sugars and it can give you trends. I think with CGMs, the best thing to do is look at it for trends, not for exact numbers. There is a discrepancy and a standard deviation that those numbers are not always accurate. And it does depend on where you place it. You can have more or less fat in certain places. For those with diabetes who have had a lot of scar tissue, like me with pumps, like I can't put CGMs in certain places because it reads very funky. So it is normal for it to go down because that's during the rest period. You don't need to utilize glucose. We're not moving. When we're thinking about glucose, we want to think about movement and getting it into the skeletal muscle cells. We want glucose to support brain function and cognitive function as we're thinking. So glucose is good, but you need glucose whenever you're really awake. So two, I think it's absolutely normal for it to go down. And then two, it can spike a little bit higher in the morning, and not spike high, but it usually gradually goes up because cortisol and glucagon start to get activated to wake you up. So yes, this is a normal phenomenon. I would also too kind of see where you're placing it and if you're sleeping on it. If you lay on it, mine's right here. If you lay on it, it can read funky.
Well, that's great
really,
question.
really great. That's really, really great. My encouragement for those of you who are wearing CGMs, because I feel like we get a lot of patients who don't have diabetes wear CGMs, which is amazing, which I think you should. Use it to see what trends look like. What does food do to me? What does exercise do to me? Don't go exactly based on that number because a lot of people panic and freak out. There is a standard deviation with that number. If you get symptomatic with that number of, I have a low in the 50s, I'm 50, it's beeping at me, check it with a finger stick, see what that really looks like. And if you're doing a real finger stick, you clean your finger off with an alcohol pad, you prick, you push out the blood, wipe with sterile gauze, and then you're doing the second one. So if you're really wanting to be like, do I actually have low blood sugar or hyperglycemia, high blood sugar, test it with a, what they call it, a point of care glucose or a self-monitoring blood glucose monitor. You can get them at Walmart for next to nothing. Rely on. And also check and take a note of what your symptoms are at that time. Do you have symptoms of low blood sugar or high blood sugar? Low blood sugar is going to be shakiness, irritability, I can't think, fast heart rate, and panicky feelings, sweating. Hyperglycemia is super fatigued, tired, my eyes hurt, I'm peeing a lot. So look and kind of adjust, because I'm having a lot of feedback of like, hey, I have like high blood sugar, I have lows. I'm like, yeah, I mean, if you're going to monitor your blood sugar all the time, you're going to see wild variations. It will never be just perfect. It's like our labs and our bodies change all the time to different environments. So it's never going to look perfect, but trends are really, really helpful. And then two, looking at A1C to make sure that like sugar's not sticking to the red blood cell.
Well, thank you. And if you guys have
That's a
CGM
great
questions
question. Oh, that's
tonight,
such a great question.
I'm going to put this up. This is a victory. Thank you, Tom. Berberine seems to be working. I'm trying to get down to 220 from 234, 235 after a week to 10 days. My weight's starting to drop. That's awesome.
Berberine for the weekend. So berberine, that's a natural version of metformin. It's great. It works to sensitize insulin, decrease glucose production from glycogen breakdown. Berberine's amazing. So I think that's great. It can be dosed up to 1,600 milligrams of berberine, or 500 milligrams of dihydroberberine, sometimes 1,000. I think you can play around higher with those doses though, and watch for GI side effects.
All right,
This
guys.
is great.
I'm trying to find my place again. I apologize if I'm missing people. We will get to everybody. I promise.
We will get to everybody.
Let's see.
Yeah, we will. Yeah, we will.
I think this is.
Oh, dude, there's one right there.
This one right here.
Oh yeah.
I think this is, poor mom had no idea how bad sugar is for kids. Okay. Always cook sweets. Okay. So this is a comment. Thank you, Lynn K. Lynn.
Oh, thank you, Lynn K.
Yeah.
You know what? And also, people don't know. And we get into, we're products of the 90s.
Yeah.
Like the 90s was a big time of junk food, a big time of low fat, which was not a good idea. We're in a very interesting era right now where we know a lot more about nutrition. And I think too, it's very hard sometimes because we have a culture that centers around food. If you're inviting people over to the house, it's, do you have food? We're going to Ben's fiance's house. Y'all's house.
Yeah. Our house. Yeah.
Our house. Our house, the three of us. Too. And she's cooking. Like everything is just involved around food. So you want to be kind to yourself too. I feel like there's a lot of shame of like, I can't celebrate the holidays. I don't want to go to Thanksgiving. Oh, I just had that pumpkin pie. I'm not going to eat for a week. Don't get into that. Yeah. Just don't. It's not healthy. I don't think it's healthy for you. If you do fine with that type of mentality and that's your game plan, go for it. It wouldn't be my suggestion because there's so much that comes from sharing food with other people.
Yep.
If you're in community with people, I went out after the show with the artistic director and a few of the actors, and we had fun and we ate and we were in community together. So I think that's important when you think about real nutrition. But if you're thinking about what you're doing on a normal basis, real foods that you get from known sources where you can name the ingredients and you cook them yourself. Or in Katie and Carter's case, beef liver. Just take beef liver.
Definitely watch that episode about processed food. Yeah.
I'm gonna start taking beef liver.
Yeah.
I want to look like
we're selling beef tallow in the Kingsport office.
I did a beef tallow treatment on my hair last night.
Yeah.
It is so soft.
Yeah.
Feel it.
Oh wow.
Is that not soft?
Wow.
It's like Downy Fresh.
Yeah. That's amazing.
Yeah.
All right, Lieutenant. Lieutenant has a great question. What are your thoughts on taking semaglutides as a 25-year-old female with multiple sclerosis? Also, what vitamins do you recommend taking with MS?
I'm so sorry about an MS diagnosis. That's a tough one. MS is a if this is someone like, if this is you or someone that you know with MS, you're going to know a lot more about it than I'm going to know about it. But it's within the nervous system. And it's a really, really tough one. And it deals with your immunity and it just kind of attacks everything. MS is difficult. I don't know vitamins specific to MS, but my best guess would be something that is going to be immune related, something to improve immunity and make sure too that you can fight off infections. So I would be looking at something too like methylene blue. I would be looking at low-dose naltrexone, which are not vitamins, but are low-dose naltrexone is not over the counter either. I'd look at those two interventions because I think those are going to help out with immunity. I'd look at something like super high doses of D, like trying to get to your vitamin D levels to the low hundreds. And then anything to fight off infection like D, C, zinc, Bs, eating well. But I think, I don't know a specific one that would be just catered to MS. Semaglutide. So there's not a contraindication. The contraindications are going to be pancreatitis, history of pancreatitis. It's going to be medullary C thyroid carcinoma and something called multiple endocrine neoplasia type 2. The last two of which have never been found in human studies. The first of which has been if you've had a history of pancreatitis. So there's not a contraindication. It depends on what she's looking for. If she's looking for relief of multiple sclerosis, I don't know that there's been even I don't know an anecdote of that or even like a case study. I have heard of it for psoriatic arthritis where it's been super helpful. So I know it has some other modalities and facets that it can help with. I just don't know about MS specifically. If this patient is struggling with weight, absolutely. I don't think it's going to be harmful at all. I'd be careful about the doses too, to make sure that motility is going through the gastrointestinal tract. Since we're dealing with the nervous system, we want to make sure that we're not slowing it down too much and we're causing too much like gastroparesis type symptoms. So I'd be very, very careful about dosing for that. It's a good question.
Thank you so much for sending that in, Lieutenant. I'm going to just put this up real quick. Do you sell portable far infrared lights? We do not right now, but we're going to kind of mark this down. It's always interesting to see what you guys are interested in, but as of right now, no, we don't, Lynn Caitlin. Thank you for that question. Let's get to Tom's question here. What do you think about these football players you hear about dying every summer? Didn't happen years ago. I say people aren't as hardy as they used to be, especially with kids playing inside air conditioning instead of being outside. This is interesting. And to be honest with you, I don't know. What's your thoughts on this?
I don't know. I don't think kids are as hardy. I think that part is true. I've been checking a lot of young male T's like in their 19, 20, 21, and I've seen low T. So I know that hormones are absolutely changing from what they used to be 20 years ago, 30 years ago, 50 years ago. So definitely kids are a lot different now. So that could be part of it too. And just something as like being hardy, like eating well, being outdoors, not being on their phones. I think a lot of it absolutely can do with that too. I mean, our heat's a little bit different now. I mean, maybe that's not too political, but just like the environment has changed. So it might just be heat also that deals with it too, depending on when these football players go out for Are they going out in the middle of summer? That's a summer in Tennessee or Texas that has a lot of different heat waves than there were 50 years ago. Could be something. I do agree that kids too are inside a lot. And I think we were probably the last generation that wasn't. We were never inside.
No.
So I think that's changed a lot. And I think COVID changed a lot of things too, because it had kids staying indoors and away from people. So I think immune systems are a lot different. So I think you're probably right with this one. And getting kids back outdoors is a good thing. Get your kids outdoors, get them touching trees, throwing rocks.
Tom, thank you for that, man. Thank you for that question.
Lemonade stand.
I want to get this from Roel, then we're going to move down. I see Evangelon's in here. Evangelon, so good to see you, man. So good to see you. All right, Roel is saying, went on TRT and I go to donate blood. How long do I wait to check my blood lab levels? A few days or a week? Hematocrit, red blood cells, so I can visit my doctor. This is a great question. This is one we get every day.
Yep, it's immediate.
Okay.
Like you can do a hematocrit before and after, and that's usually with a finger stick. So too, whenever you go to those blood donation centers, they can stick your finger, see what your HCT is or hemoglobin, and give a before and after of it. So it is, when it's gone, when you thin it out, it's out. So you can do an immediate one. But if you're going to do it at your doctor's office, a lot of it is how well that can be sustained. So too, whenever we do therapeutic phlebotomy orders, for those of you who are listening who don't know what this is, testosterone replacement therapy can increase blood thickness. It can increase red blood cells and hemoglobin, hematocrit, the thickness of the blood, because it goes to the bone marrow and says make more, which is usually a good thing. But if your body doesn't naturally clear them with the life of the red blood cell every 120 days, then you just it kind of piles up, and men don't bleed. So this isn't a huge problem with women, because women bleed usually through menstrual cycles. It can postmenopause because they're not bleeding anymore. So with men, the therapeutic donation allows them to donate more often. Normally it's every 52 days, I believe is the normal one. Someone can correct me on that, to donate. And this allows you to donate more quickly than that, to a certain number. So I'd say two, a few, like literally you'll know right after, but if you're trying to show something like evidence to your medical provider that, hey, I don't want to do this anymore, then you'd almost want to give it a few weeks or a month and then check it, see what your T is, and then see how long you can sustain that CBC. So people can check their CBCs once monthly, once weekly, just by, or not even CBC, but just the hematocrits. Like you can go and just say, every month and say, hey, am I down? Hey, am I down? Hey, am I down? If you're able to donate and you're not down, then something is still stimulating that red blood cell to go. And a lot of it might be the dose of TRT or how frequent you're doing it. The one big doses once a week usually have more propensity to do this. And it's called secondary erythrocytosis. That's a good question. Yeah. So immediate answer is right after you'll know, and then depends on what you want to do with that value of when you go back.
Roel, thank you for that question. Let's get to Don real quick over on Facebook. Any recommendations for detoxifying in order to get a better breast thermography? Doing lymphatic massage, should I increase vitamin D?
This is great. Yeah. Lymphatic massage is amazing for thermography as well, or even doing lymphatic movements like rebounding is really, really good to increase the lymph flow throughout the body. Detoxifying the body, anything that's going to be a good liver support. Increasing vitamin D is always a yes. Always a yes, but test your vitamin D levels just to know. We're getting a lot of no coverage for vitamin D, by the way. A lot of insurances don't want to pay for it more than once a year or twice a year. Pay cash for that one. Just pay cash
for the lab
for vitamin D. That's how I do it.
Okay.
We're getting weird coverage issues with vitamin D, which is
that's interesting.
But increasing vitamin D is good. Milk thistle, dandelion root is really good for the liver. So I think anything that's going to be a liver support, like milk thistle, and omegas. And then two, you can even consider doing like a parasite cleanse. There's detoxes that way to where you can just, or do a gut cleansing. That's another one too, a GI map and clean out the gut. Looking at BPC 157. Fulvic acid is a good binder so that you can get things out of your gut that you don't need. But I'd say too, if you're like, I really want to put my best foot forward, I would do a cell core 4-month detox with a parasite cleanse. I would do rebounding exercises, increasing vitamin D, and something to support the liver, like milk thistle. That's a
Great
good question. Or any of those. That sounds like a lot. You can do any of them.
Thank you, Don, for that question. Let's get to Mark over on YouTube. Mark, what's up, man? Thoughts on oral microbiome role in systemic immune regulation, making it a potent influence on type 1 diabetes, surpassing the gut microbiome effects with its direct access to immune pathways and rapid impact on inflammation. I think I guess that's it, Mark. Am I missing something? There we go. Okay. What's your thoughts?
So oral microbiome role, like probiotics, prebiotics, is that what you're meaning, Mark? And systemic immune regulation, making it potent influence on type 1. So much of what I think with type 1 diabetes is that there's already antibodies out there, zinc transporter 8, GAD65, IAA2, and oh my God, the last one, ICA, islet cell antibody. So there's already antibodies out there that have killed the beta cells. And then when there's seroconversion into true type 1 diabetes, you don't have any insulin anymore. So I think that totally depends on where you are in the progression from no disease to full disease. So no disease to honeymoon phase to full blown type 1 diabetes. So oral microbiome role and systemic, surpassing the gut microbiome effects. So leaky gut is what I'm assuming with the gut microbiome effects would be leaky gut. So cleaning up the gut, I think will help, but I think that's going to help more pre-diagnosis rather than post-diagnosis. I do think that this would be very helpful if you do stem cells. I think stem cells are going to be the wave of the future. And I spoke with someone off the record that is knows they're doing studies with stem cells in a particular version to where they do bypass antibody detection so that they're making the pluripotent cells into beta cells, and somehow those cells are not detectable by the antibodies that the patient with type 1 diabetes has. So stem cells are another way that I think are going to be the wave of the future. And I think this would be very, very helpful in that particular case. Anything too with the microgut biome, I do think so much. I think you're spot on. And Mark, I did read your thing. Mark sent me an email about alternative or adjunctive therapies for cancer, which is really great, including metformin and melatonin. This really, really cool stuff.
Yeah.
In fenbendazole and one other. So anything that too in this question, type 1 diabetes is an autoimmune illness. So with autoimmune illness, you have antibodies associated and you usually have leaky gut. It usually means that the gut protection from the outside world has some dysregulation. And when things come in, it goes out of the gut and into the body and wreaks havoc in different ways. Rheumatoid arthritis, lupus, type 1 diabetes, scleroderma, Sjogren's. And the idea is to get lower antibodies so they stop attacking whatever they're trying to kill, and get the gut biome back together. So I've just not seen anything to where, and I see that too, microbiome can stimulate the regrowth of beta cells. The whole thing too would be, can those beta cells survive the antibodies that type 1s have? I think my honest opinion is that if that were there, people would be on it. Right? And that might be a conspiracy theory that they're trying to keep people sick. But if it's just take a pill and all of a sudden beta cells are back, I think everybody would be on them. I really do. A lot of people do have some conspiracy theories about some nefarious activities that keep people sick. And maybe that is true. Maybe too, but some of it is, I think that'd be more common use if it were really working. I think the whole idea is going to be how do you bypass your already autoimmune system not attacking the growth of the new beta cells. That's how I would look at it. But I'm interested to know what the exact oral microbiome is. Is it would it also even fecal transplants? That might be interesting too. I bet Mark knows about that too.
Mark, thank you for that. I'm going to keep moving. Let's get to Karen
Mark
here.
has such good questions.
Thank you, Mark. Thank you for the thoughtful questions here. As always, Karen, who always brings amazing questions as well, trying to be proactive for colon. Previously took daily probiotic billions of active cultures. Most recent purchase shows prebiotic, same or different, one better than the other. So I guess this is around the number of active cultures in a probiotic versus a prebiotic?
Oh, I think a combo is good.
Okay.
I think a combo is really good. Prebiotics are going to feed the good gut bacteria. Probiotics are giving you good gut bacteria. So anything within a combo, we have one called Digest Shield that's really good. A combo of it with some enzymes. They are different. So prebiotics are things that feed the good gut bacteria to thrive within the system. And then probiotics are just bypassing it and putting more bacteria into the system.
Mm.
So different, and I'd say the combo is better.
Yeah.
The combo is better. And two, sometimes people will actually test for the microbiome, just like what Mark was saying, like you can test for what's in your microbiome. You can test and see there's a lot of different bugs in there. There's a lot of different bugs that should be in there, but there's certain tests that can, see how much of the gut bacteria is in there. And then you can detail or tailor your probiotic to what your gut has.
Karen, thank you for that. That's a great question. I'm going to put this up from Evangelon. This is more of like a testimonial. So thank you, Evangelon. A 10-year-old dog was diagnosed with a cancerous tumor on her throat. It spread up and caused eyes to glaze over opaque. She wasn't breathing well, losing balance. And nothing loose. So I started giving her ivermectin. Within 2 days, her eyes cleared up and throat swelling has gone down.
Wow, that's amazing. That's amazing.
Yeah, thank you, Evangelon.
Dad even sent me something on ivermectin for psoriasis.
Interesting. That is super interesting.
Killing those bugs.
Evangelon, thank you for that. We're towards the end here, guys. If I missed you, I apologize. If I missed you, put it at the end so I'll be noticing it. But you guys have been so amazing. The questions
These are great.
Have been so good.
Made me think.
Thank you guys.
I'm going to look up more for MS too. I'm going to look up more for MS.
Oh, Ryan, let's see here. Let's get to Jack. Jack, thanks for being here, man. Prebiotics and probiotics make you feel sick. Any suggestions? That's a great question.
It might be the wrong one for you. That might be. I would look for testing and see, like, hey, actually, I have enough. Like you might have enough of the bacteria in there and you don't need more. So a lot of people will preemptively use probiotics and prebiotics, but you might be overloaded on them, which can cause just as much discomfort as undergrowth. So I'd say testing for them is a good one. And you can do that through GI map or bypass it all and do something like sauerkraut, kefir, kimchi, or apple cider vinegar, and using that as your pre and probiotic to start stimulating, to just put it into your system. A lot of people get gut dysfunction fixed with just those things.
That's interesting.
And just doing that prior to meals or doing like sauerkraut with the meal.
Jack, great question, man. Great question. All right, guys. I don't think I missed anybody. I see, we're getting some great comments. There's one from Mark. Thank you. Need to have energy source, and that's the purpose of the pre. Thank you for that.
And acromantia. Mark, I want some stuff on acromantia. Just if you ever get some time for research. Acromantia. That's like a big thing with gut that I think people would really benefit from.
Thank you for that. MS can benefit from EBO treatment and melanotan or melatonin. All right, guys, thank y'all so much. Ange, man, thank you.
This is good. Thanks, dude. Thanks for having me on. This is
thank
great.
you for being here with me, and we're gonna
thank you for being a brother.
Have some dinner here in a minute. I'm gonna shut this podcast off real quick. So this is Zach.
Can we not sing? We can't sing Shadazy anymore. Deck the deck.
We sang this. We sang that on the way home one day.
Okay, we can't do it.
We can't do it.
We can't do it anymore.
It's too much pressure.
What countries are we kicking out?
Well, I had the song on my phone.
I understand.
I wasn't singing for them. It was background music. Do you think I was just singing it to people?
Maybe. I don't know, Ben. You were here on for 8 hours live. I just thought, what are we doing?
Hey, guys, let us know how we did. Did y'all get anything out of this? We sure hope so. We had such a blast doing this. Real quick, I'm going to put this back up. Well, one, we put this out in the weekly today, the email. Robin did an amazing episode on tirzepatide on Explain This. It's in our emails on YouTube, tirzepatide, Robin Riddle will show up. And then, of course, we got the vitamins, performancemedicine.net/shop. Doug sent me or Katie an email. You're going to get one of these for free.
That's good. Oh, that's good.
I love it. Thank you, guys. Y'all are the best. Thank you, Don. Thank you, D. Lynn. Thank you, Cherry. We're getting
Yes,
high
come
ratings.
on,
Dude,
high
you.
ratings. We'll take it.
Guys, thank y'all. We will be. Oh, I'm gonna put this up. Thank you, Roel. That's so sweet. Andy, I believe your book will be a great Christmas gift.
Oh,
I love that.
Thanks, Robert. You're the bomb.
That's
Thank
amazing.
you.
Thank you, Andy and the
Yes.
Beats.
And in the beats.
Yeah.
Yes.
Thank you, Roel. All right, guys, we're out of here. We will be back next week, Tuesday, 7 p.m., 7 to 8. We answered your health. Your health. All right, guys, we're calling it a show. We love you. We'll be back.
Happy
next
holidays,
week.
everybody.
Happy holidays to everybody. Thank you to
Do
everyone.
something fun.
Everyone on our team that's here. Carter, thank you. We love you.
Yes.
So many people on our team are here tonight, so we love you guys so much. Thank you for being here. All right, we're calling it a show. Where's my outro for Brad? Come on, Brad. See you guys.
Don't go away.